Okay, so now I am going to discuss on agonist and antagonist in case of hormones. So what are these agonists and antagonists basically? Agonists are nothing but the hormones which are which are helping in the signal transduction, or which are helping in the post processing of the signal transduction or hormonal regulation. Okay, cell communication or cellular transduction, whatever it is. That is, it is simply speaking, it is bringing about its action. That those hormones are known as the agonist hormones. And the antagonists are opposite. Antagonists are not hormones, or it might be hormones, or anti-hormones it might be, or some kind of drugs. Okay, basically drugs or anti-hormones which are blocking the action of agonists, thereby preventing the further cellular transduction that might be processed by that agonist particularly. Okay, so let's see how the thing is happening. So let me draw two cells first here. This one is a particular cell right up here. Consider it as an average. Consider it as an average eukaryotic cell. Okay, and here also, here another cell I am drawing. Okay, suppose this cell is the target cell, and this cell is the stimulator cell. Okay, which is stimulating the action of the hormone. Now, when the hormone that is being produced by this particular cell, which might be, the stimulator cells might be present in any gland, particularly gland it is, so it is gland, and this target cell might be any kind of cell. Okay, let us not write a variety, it might be any kind of cell. It might be a organ cell, it might be other gland cell, it might be nerve cell, it might be any other kind of tissue cell. Okay, and this is particularly a gland which is a stimulator cell. Now when this particular stimulator cell or the initiator cell is secreting what? Producing that particular hormone. That hormone is popping out via the secretory vesicles from the cell, out of the cell. Okay, let me draw the hormone with red color, that it would be easier to explain. If I draw the hormone with the red color, okay, let's say this may be the hormone. So this hormone is coming out of the cell, and via the bloodstream or via directly to the target cell, it is creating a signaling. It is creating that hormonal signaling action. Now this particular hormone, suppose it is binding with the receptor, the receptors that are present here. Okay, this thing is the receptor of target cell, and this thing is the hormone. Okay, now when the hormone is binding with this particular receptor here, it would trigger the post-processing. Post-processing means the cellular post-transduction, whatever the secondary messenger, secondary transduction of the signal that is happening, that happens within the particular target cell, it would trigger that. And after the signal transduction has been completed, this particular target cell, what it will do, it will activate the transcription factor of the gene present within the nucleus and produce that particular response, or produce that particular enzyme, or whatever it is, in order to carry out that physiological function. Now, this hormone which is bringing about this entire process, this particular hormone which is bringing about this entire process, this particular hormone is called agonist. Okay. Agonist, and why agonist? Because it is creating a forward reaction, a forward operation. It is completing the action. It is completing whatever the post process or post action it is completing the entire path or operation. Now if somehow there is a certain molecule or a certain chemical which will bind with this receptor, okay, which will bind with this particular receptor here, and it will block this particular receptor, this will block the action of the hormone. It will completely block the action of this hormone. That is, this particular molecule, this blue colored area, this particular molecule will not help in binding the hormone with this receptor. Okay. In that case, this particular hormone cannot mediate or cannot impart this particular post-transduction process, this specific post-transduction process cannot be imparted anymore. This thing is known as antagonist. Antagonist. And common antagonists are drugs or anti-hormones. Anti-hormones or drugs. Okay. And these anti-hormones might be anti-hormones might be steroid or protein hormones okay, and these drugs might be drugs are specifically these might be there are two types of specific drugs used, okay, in commonly used. These are NSAID, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug, okay, or any kind of low concentration of some, what I'll say, some enzymes. Okay, some enzymes are also used as enzymes are also used in case of the drugs, and in case of anti-hormones, some anti-steroid or anti-proteins are used. These entire type of molecules, all these types of molecules which specifically inhibit the role play of the agonists or the hormones are known as the antagonists. Okay. Now, common example, let me write some example of agonists and antagonists. Okay. Let me write some example of agonists and antagonists here. Okay, so one common agonist here, let me write MSH. MSH is melanocyte stimulating hormone, and the antagonist is, let me write the antagonist with blue, antagonist, and this one is agonist, let me write with it red. Okay. And for MSH, the common antagonist is melatonin. Melatonin. This melatonin is actually a biogenic amine hormone which is secreted by the pineal gland. Pineal gland is present in the cerebral cortex of the human brain. And number 2, there is growth hormone or GH. Okay. A common antagonist of this growth hormone is somatostatin. Somatostatin. Somatostatin is secreted by the gamma cells of the islet of Langerhans in the pancreas, which is a heterocrine gland. Pancreas is a heterocrine gland, or it might be endocrine also or exocrine. Both terminologies are correct. The third one is gonadotropic hormone. Okay, GnRH, or GnH, gonadic hormones like androgens or the sex hormones. Now, a common antagonist of this gonadic hormones or the androgens or the sex hormones is inhibin. Inhibin is a common inhibitory hormone that is being secreted, that is being triggered for the secretion by the hypothalamus. It's the releasing factor of the inhibin. That releasing factor means the signal to release the inhibin hormone is being processed from the hypothalamus. The inhibitory signal is being sent. Inhibin is a hormone which inhibits which acts as the antagonist for the GnRH. And also remember, not only inhibin, this melatonin also, inhibin and melatonin also acts as the antagonistic hormone for the gonadotropic hormones. Gonadotropic hormones are the androgenic hormones, okay, the sex hormones. And the fourth one is atrial natriuretic factor, ANF. Atrial natriuretic factor is secreted by the heart, the pericardium membrane of the heart. Okay, heart is having the pericardium membrane, the outer covering of the heart. Atrial natriuretic factor is secreted by the heart, which is being inhibited by this particular thing is inhibited by atrial natriuretic factor the atrial natriuretic factor is the antagonist actually. Here the hormone would be, the agonist hormone would be renin. Okay, the renin is the hormone which is being blocked or which is being triggered, which is being inhibited by ANF or atrial natriuretic factor. And few other antagonists are like these are the anti-hormones. Okay, these four are anti-hormones. Now there are some other class of drugs which inhibit the function of the agonists of the hormones. The common example of those drugs are like these are anti-hormones. All these anti-hormones. And now some of the drugs which acts as the antagonists are like the ibuprofen, then paracetamol, ibuprofen, paracetamol, then acetaminophen, then tamoxifen, then aspirin. These are some of the drugs which are acting as antagonists for certain hormones. Okay, the mainly all this except this tamoxifen here, tamoxifen, all these four, ibuprofen, paracetamol, acetaminophen and aspirin, this act for a particular hormone, this act as an antagonist for a particular hormone named as endorphin. Endorphin. Endorphin is a inflammatory signal mediator. Okay, endorphin, and there are other there is other hormones like the there are other there are hormones which signal the pain actually. Endomorphin. Endorphins are endogenous morphines. So endorphins are the hormones which trigger the pain. Okay, too much high concentration of endorphin often acts as the antagonist. Okay, often acts as the painkiller. Like morphine, we have morphine is a painkiller, artificial painkiller. Endorphin is an endogenous morphine. Endogenous morphine is produced within the human body, which in high concentration acts as the painkiller. And in low concentration, endorphin often can act as the pain signaling hormone or pain increasing hormone. Okay. So, against the action of this endorphin or against the action of any kind of inflammation, okay, any kind of inflammation particularly, endorphin or inflammation, particularly this four hormones, the ibuprofen, paracetamol, acetaminophen and aspirin. Okay, these four hormones mainly act as the antagonist for against the inflammation. They are not increasing the inflammatory effect of the antigen antibody reaction or damage, cellular damage, which is increasing the inflammatory effect or inflammatory signal, pain signal. They are not helping in doing that. They are blocking, these hormones are blocking the pathway of the neurotransmitters like the acetylcholine, epinephrine, norepinephrine, whatever it is. They are blocking the pathway of the excitatory neurotransmitters which are carrying the pain signal, specifically the norepinephrine, epinephrine and the acetylcholine, particularly whatever they might be depending on the type of pain or type of action. So these hormones are these are known as NSAID. These are not hormones, these drugs are particularly called non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. They act as the anti-inflammatory against inflammation. So they are antagonistic effect. They are having antagonistic effects against the inflammation via blocking the pathway of the neurotransmitters and also to some extent blocking the action of the endorphins. Okay, the low concentrations of the endorphins. So this is how the agonist and the antagonist are playing its role for different kind of inflammatory as well as anti-inflammatory effect. Okay. So this is what the drugs as well as the anti-hormones that are produced naturally within our body can act in order to inhibit the action of the forward action of the excitatory signal, thereby alleviating the pain or alleviating the suffering. Okay.